All right, picture this. You and your team have poured months, maybe even years of your lives into a brand new product. The code is finally written, the design looks amazing, and that launch date on the calendar is getting closer and closer. But there's always that one huge question just hanging in the air. That moment of truth. It's this crazy mix of exciting and absolutely terrifying. I mean, does this thing actually do what you designed it to do? Are people going to love it, or are they going to find a dozen show-stopping bugs in the first 5 minutes? That feeling, that's the pre-launch anxiety every single product team knows all too well. So how do you cross that chasm? How do you go from feeling totally uncertain to being genuinely confident? How do you make sure your product doesn't just work, but that it actually wows the people you built it for? Well, it all boils down to your testing strategy. And, this is where a lot of teams get tripped up. They think testing is just one box to check. But the real secret to a killer launch is realizing you're not solving one problem. You're solving two completely different ones. And that means you need two very different kinds of tests. So let's break them down. Okay, first up, we've got something called user acceptance testing, or UAT for short. Now, the easiest way to think about this is to imagine you're building a house. UAT is like the final walkthrough with the architect, blueprint in hand, making sure every single window, every light switch is exactly where the plan says it should be. The key word here is verification. UAT is all about answering one simple question. Did we build the thing we said we were going to build? It's a super formal process to confirm that every single feature checks a box against the original business requirements that were laid out way back at the start. And you can see right here just how structured this is. This is not a casual, let's click around and see what happens kind of deal. No way. This is a methodical, line-by-line checklist. We're talking a formal plan, covering goals, deliverables, specific functions, the whole shebang. And it all ends with a formal sign-off. So, quick recap on UAT. The goal, verification. The testers, internal people, your clients, your stakeholders. And the timing, it's happening all the time, throughout the entire development process. It's your internal reality check. But what happens when you're ready to see how it flies outside your own building? Well, that's where beta testing comes in. If UAT is checking the blueprint inside the safety of the hangar, beta testing is the very first real-world test flight. This is where you actually hand the keys over to real users and see how your product holds up in the wild, far, far away from the perfect conditions of your lab. And this is the fundamental difference in a nutshell. UAT asks, does this thing meet the contract? Beta testing asks, yeah, but how does it actually perform out there in the chaos of the real world? The testers totally change, from your internal clients to real everyday users. And the focus shifts from just fulfilling requirements to hunting down all those unexpected bugs and usability nightmares. Now, the timing here is absolutely critical. Beta testing usually happens when your product is about 95% done, typically in that final 4 to 12-week window right before the big launch. You're giving a hand-picked group of real people early access, and the deal is, hey, this is almost done, but we need you to help us find the last few rough edges. And let me tell you, the payoff from a great beta test is huge. You're going to find all those little bugs you could never find internally. You'll get to see how people actually use your product, which, trust me, is almost never how you imagined they would. And maybe the best part, you can turn these first users into your most passionate fans and advocates before you even launch. I love this quote because it just perfectly nails the vibe. A beta test isn't some big one-time dramatic rocket launch. It's more like a game of ping pong. It's this rapid back and forth between your team and your testers. You get feedback, you make a fix, you send it back, they find something new. It's a conversation. So, we've covered the what and the when of testing, but now we get to what I think is the most fascinating part of this whole thing, the who. Because the real secret weapon for a successful launch isn't just the process, it's the people who are part of it. I mean, it's a fair question, right? Who are these people? And what on earth makes someone spend their free time playing with buggy, unfinished software and then carefully reporting all the problems? I can tell you right now, it's not just about getting free stuff. The psychology going on here is way more interesting. And just so we're clear, we're not talking about some tiny niche group. To give you a sense of the scale here, way back in 2018, Apple's CEO Tim Cook said that over 4 million people were in their operating system beta programs. 4 million. And that number has probably only gone up since then. So yeah, there's clearly a very powerful motivation at play here.
Well, psychologists have a name for this. It's called self-determination theory, and it basically says that we humans have three deep core needs. We need autonomy, that sense of control. We need competence, that feeling of being good at something. And we need relatedness, that feeling of connecting with other people. And get this, beta testing hits all three perfectly.
So let's break that down. A lot of testers are just huge fans. They love the product and genuinely want to help make it better. Then you've got the thrill of exclusivity, right? Being on the inside, getting early access. There's also the deep satisfaction of having real influence, of knowing your feedback is actually shaping the future of the product. And of course, there's community and just the pure fun of exploring new tech. There is no better story to illustrate this than the original Gmail launch. Remember that? It was invite only, and getting an invite was like finding a golden ticket. People were literally selling them on eBay for up to $250. Being a Gmail beta tester wasn't just about email. It gave you status. It was, as its creators said, a social currency. And that is an incredibly powerful motivator.
Okay, so let's tie all of this together. If you want to go from that feeling of pre-launch dread to launching with total confidence, you have to master both sides of the coin, the process and the people. And here's the most important takeaway. UAT and beta testing are not interchangeable. You can't just pick one. They serve totally different purposes at different times. UAT confirms you built the right thing. Beta testing makes sure the thing you built actually works for real people in the messy, real world. You absolutely need both.
So think of this as your go-to launch cheat sheet. UAT? That's about confirming the specs with your internal teams all through development, and its success hinges on a really clear, formal plan. Beta testing? That's about finding real-world bugs with real users right before you launch, and its success depends entirely on understanding the psychology of your tester.
When you combine that formal blueprint check with that real-world test flight, you're not just launching a product anymore. You're launching something that has been validated, stress-tested, and already has its first passionate fans ready to cheer it on. So now you have the playbook. The only question is, what will you build next?